Hey, Wanda, how you doing? Good morning.
Hi, baby.
Fine, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, Wanda, and Frank, what had happened on July 6th of this year, a warrant was issued for his arrest. Through his previous lawyers, he had agreed to do 600 hours of community service, obtain travel permits, do a lot of things on probation. And, of course, this is something that's been going on with he in that court for quite a while. Things got out of control. They came to me on July 16th and basically said, hey, can you help clean up this thing because it's out of control. He was facing yesterday 2.5 years in prison for not doing for the third time what the judge told him to do.
Wow. And what was those things the judge told him to do?
The judge told him, one, to, take drug and alcohol classes. Mm-hmm. 2, do 600 hours of community service. 3, don't travel without getting permission from your probation officer. And also, you ought to report to probation. Well, yesterday was the third time having come back before the court, twice before the same judge, for the same issues. And technically and generally, most people in that position end up being revoked for the balance of their time.
Okay.
Had he been revoked for the balance of his time, it was a little over 2 years. It's an aggravated assault charge. He would have served about 2 years in prison. We were able to convince the court yesterday to do some things, not exactly what we wanted. We didn't go exactly like we wanted, but it wasn't as bad as it could be. They gave him a 12-month sentence where he would do 6 months at the Fulton County Jail and possibly be released even earlier than that if he makes trustee. But that's what the situation was about yesterday. We tried to impress upon the court that we could use a young kid like him to help save the taxpayers' money by being a positive impact to children, a lot of kids who are addicts. The court didn't really kind of buy that, very much like the tip case, because the court noted. In T.I.'s case, T.I. was told to do 1,000 hours of community service, and T.I. did 1,030, and never had an issue with probation.
Now, how many hours did Gucci Mane do?
He did none. This is the second time going back for the court on that issue of doing community service as ordered. He was ordered to do 600, right. And what they brought him back to do. In other words, the last time he was in court, when y'all reported on that situation, he was given a year then, and the judge told, I give you a year. You will do 600 hours of community service when you get out. And if you recall, Gucci told the judge, I'm going to do it. You'll never see me again.
Exactly.
Things got out of control, and I think it just spiraled completely out of control. And I was kind of brought in to kind of save this thing from total disaster, and I think we did.
Now, we were watching the news on yesterday, and they were saying that the charges were his urine was dirty. Is that true or false?
That was one of the charges. There were several charges. 1, tested positive. 2, failure to attend the drug and alcohol classes. 3, failure to do any community service. 4, traveling without permission. There were a number of charges. But one thing about it, I'm very impressed with Mr. Davis because yesterday he stood up. He accepted responsibility for his conduct. He was clean and he was sober. And he told that court that's the first time he's been clean and sober for 4 months, straight months, in a long time in his life. He was very articulate, and he kind of understood what he was facing. He expected the worst, being 2.5 years in prison. But it didn't happen that way because he was very clean and he was very sober and he was very articulate. He was a different person yesterday in court than he'd been before. I think he has a public service announcement that comes on BET where he talks about his sobriety, and I think he really takes it seriously. Unfortunately, it just happened a little late. I explained to the court yesterday, I wish I had gotten his case a lot earlier and been able to work with him a lot earlier on some of the issues so we wouldn't have to deal with that the way we had to deal with it yesterday. But we were fortunate in a lot of ways because when I was brought on this case, they were looking for him at that point in time to lock him up. And I got that stopped.
Hey, Dwight, as his lawyer, let me ask you a question. because I got to ask this, and I got to just say that, Gucci's a personal friend of mine. But I know that people that are listening right now are saying, isn't that hypocritical to say that he's sober and he cares about his sobriety, but the hit song that he has is called Wasted?
Well, as he put on one of his on that particular public service announcement, he said, "I make songs which are fun and which are entertainment, but I take my sobriety seriously. Be safe in life." So yeah, on one hand you can look at it one way, and I think that the makings of that song, Frank, occurred before he began that road of sobriety too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I had to ask that because people.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I expected that to come up. Yeah, I expected that to come up. But as he indicates, I make party songs. He made the public service announcement after having made that song, and of course, the song was made before he got really cleaned up the sober.
All right. Well, Dwight, thank you so much. And as you work with him,